All right, today I'm going to be walking you through the new way to scale an agency past $100,000 a month in profit in 2025. Most people think the only way to scale an agency is to get more clients, hire more people, and get stuck on that hamster wheel of fulfillment hiring until things break. While this is a pretty good way to do this, to get to that 100K mark, it does have a limit. The new way to scale your agency past the $100,000 per month mark in 2025 is to turn some part of your process or service into software. My name's Victor, and I previously ran a six-figure marketing company, and now I am running Levanta Labs, which lets me help other agency owners, consultancy-based businesses, and other service-based businesses turn their services into software so they can not only scale past that $100,000 a month threshold, but also build massive enterprise value and own IP along the way. I've done this with countless businesses from finance firms to email marketing products to info businesses to consumer mobile apps, marketing agencies, consultancies, you name it. And I've seen it work time and time again, especially if you have an audience. So the issue with most agencies is that they think the only way to scale is by adding more clients. And, hiring people is great, but it is an extreme headache and very, very slow in terms of leverage. You have minimal leverage when you are selling services fulfilled by humans. You can only scale to a certain point without having to, ultimately hire more people to do that fulfillment. So you run into this chicken and egg problem. Find new hires, finding new clients, finding new hires, finding new clients, and ultimately your service quality is going to drop no matter what. You now have a ton more overhead. Managers are spending more time managing people rather than focusing on the growth of your company. This might be you as well as a founder. And you can use automations, but at this level, your costs will ultimately rise and shrink your margins all the way almost down to zero. So, here's an example of a cost per click ecom agency that is doing pretty well. They're bringing in around $85,000 a month in top line, serving around a dozen e-commerce and SaaS clients on flat retainers of five to $10,000 each. The agency employs eight full-time staff members. Three PPC guys, one landing page designer, a copywriter, a junior analyst, a project coordinator who handles scheduling, client comms, all of that, and the founder and his co-founder who is involved in high level strategy and often a lot of the sales because these clients want to speak directly with C-level or founders. They operate at roughly a 50 to 55% gross margin, which puts their monthly direct labor and software costs around 38 to 42 grand a month. Overhead, they have an office, so utilities, other professional fees run around 15 grand a month. And that leaves a net profit hovering of around 15 to 20%. So, in the end, the founder is only putting 12 to 15 to $17,000 in his pocket each month. And this agency wants to push beyond $100,000 a month in revenue. So, what are the problems here? One, they have limited staff bandwidth. The team is small, so they can't really handle too many new projects without hiring more people, which doesn't only cost a lot, but it takes a lot of time nowadays, as a lot of you have probably experienced, to find, vet, train, and manage high quality talent. And it ends up becoming a very slow and expensive process. The second problem is they have cash flow concerns. So because their margins are so minuscule, hiring new staff really puts a massive dent in their free cash flow. And if they grow too fast or too slow, they might end up being, in the red. They might lose money or miss out on new business. So what's the solution here? The first solution is, the first way they can go is through automation and tools. This might, using tools like Lindy or N8N or Zapier might let each team member handle more work. Also using AI, just your basic GPT, Claude, or N8N AI workflows. It might let your team members fulfill for more clients and handle a higher capacity of work, but it could also lower the quality because if you're taking on more clients with the same size team, and you are not efficient in your workflows and you don't have data to back these workflows and processes based on what's worked, aka if you have a ton of data silos or your data is scattered and is not ready to be applied to these solutions, it could ultimately lower your quality and eat into your margins at scale, especially if you are heavily dependent on systems that are not backed by real data on your processes. So that's the first solution that could be a band-aid and could work for a ton of agencies, especially if you have data and you have documented processes and you have a team that is a little bit techie in a sense that can use that data in order to improve the efficiency and quality of these AI enabled workflows. But the second option, and which may be a better option, is taking one piece of your service that clients already pay for, which means it's validated, you have proof of concept that is being fulfilled by either an admin, a VA, or a junior level employee, and packaging it and turning it into a software product that is self-serve for users at scale. So if you have a lot of data and you have documented processes, you can then take those, find a service that you're fulfilling using human labor, and productize it into a self-serve software, driving down your costs of fulfillment by 99%, and obviously letting you lower costs, lower pricing for your clients, which means it is more affordable to the masses, which means you can take on more clients without adding headcount and without worrying about fulfillment. And you get into that Goldilocks, perfect sweet spot of maximum revenue by taking on more clients and bringing your service at a price point that more people can afford while keeping your margins very, very healthy. So let's go into why software now. Basically, we know that software has super high potential margins, but most agencies and most people in general are unable to build software unless they're developers themselves, or they raise VC funding, or they have a ton of free cash flow that they can pour into hiring a team to manage this. In 2020, the average cost of a basic project would be anywhere from 50,000 to 100,000 and would take 6 to 12 months to put together. And more complex projects or softwares could cost, even hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars and take a couple of years to develop. So if you're on the low end of this free cash flow, you're likely going to get some dev shop from, I don't know, India or Asia that will do the job, but end up leaving you stranded when something breaks. They're unreliable. And having this outsourced team that, you may be depending on for a core service and a core profit driver to your business, outsourced is probably not the best bet. A lot of things can get lost in translation. The quality of development, if it's not overseen by a product manager or a CTO, can result in terrible quality service for your clients. But now, with the introduction of AI tools and AI enabled development, there is way more opportunity to make micro niche software, which previously wouldn't even be worth building because the TAM is not massive enough. But now, with the use of AI and how fast and efficient and cost effective development can be in 2025, using tools like V0, Bolt, Lovable, Cursor, previously these micro softwares wouldn't even be worth building. But now using these tools, you can spin something up in a month for even under $10,000 with a team that moves quickly, is lean, and is actually there for you when things break, because even their cost of fulfillment, even at our agency, our cost of fulfillment has gone way down since these tools came out. But ultimately, these tools like V0, Bolt, Lovable, or Bubble, or any of these no code or low code tools have limitations because they're very hard to scale. So if you're serving tens or hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of clients on a platform that was not built correctly with the right infrastructure, cannot support growth, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot in the long term. Yeah, so for example, this PPC ecom agency made a software that finds the highest performing ads in any given niche to copy paste those frameworks for their clients. They invested $20,000 with us. The MVP took 60 days to build. I think we launched it in 54 days. And they built hype not only using their personal brands, but also just fulfilling for their clients. So their clients already knew this was a service they were offering for a much higher price point, and now they've been able to drive that cost down internally and fulfill the same service for their clients at a much larger scale, taking on more clients and at a price point that more people can afford. So now they built this MVP. It costed them $20,000, took them 60 days to build, and they're selling the product for $99 a month or $999 per year. They only needed 20 people to sign up to recoup that initial investment. And luckily for them, they had around 20 clients who immediately off the bat signed yearly contracts because they were already needing this service from this service provider. And now, by driving the cost down almost to zero in terms of fulfillment, they're able to deliver this at a much lower price point for their clients. So 20 people signed up, it recouped their initial investment, and their maintenance cost is only $1,000 a month. This includes obviously a admin, a VA to manage the done for you part of this service, and anything on top of that is pure gravy in your pocket. So you know in terms of the long-term outcome and the long-term vision, this agency invested $20,000 in an MVP and was able to break even in under 2 months, which has not been possible until these AI-enabled development systems have been available to us. MVP took 60 days to build. They built hype on their personal brands on Twitter, YouTube, and other platforms, and they also sold it to their own clients. So, they only needed 20 people to sign up for a yearly plan, and everything else was profit. So, just to reiterate, scaling an agency is really, really tough. I've been there myself, and I understand that growth comes with hiring, and hiring is a headache ultimately. But now in 2025, it is a lot easier. Hiring sucks, finding clients sucks. It's all extremely tough, and you can really get burnt out very easily. But obviously, this is necessary for growth. However, nowadays, you can really improve your processes and fulfill for clients at a much larger scale by implementing software in your business. So, taking one piece of service and turning that into a productized piece of software that is self serve for your clients is probably the right way to go in 2025. You can do it in the traditional way, but honestly, there has never been a better time to launch some sort of software product that you can charge $99 a month for, $100 a month for, even $1,000 a month for, as long as the fulfillment quality is the same or at least 80% as good as it was when you were fulfilling with human service. So, your competitors are probably doing the same thing. And if you want your clients to stay, and if you want to grow your business and take on more clients without increasing your head count and run a more efficient, cash flow positive operation, this is the right way to go. And it's never been easier. So once again, if you're the kind of agency that is looking to scale past that $100,000 a month mark and make millions of dollars in 2025, we do currently have some available space to work with you and turn your service into an infinitely scalable product. So if that's something you're looking for, get in touch with me. Go to levantalabs.com, fill out the form. Let's jump on a call and figure out what we can do to you. All right, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.